Yes, folks, it's Thursday. It's 2 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Central. I'm Fred McMurray, which means this must be, as we always say, and we're back with Kristin and Elizabeth. Hi, ladies. Long time no see. Man, I'm really rocking out on the guitar riffs. What can I say?
Happy Thursday Eve. No, it's not Thursday Eve. It's Friday Eve.
Friday Eve.
It's Beaver Eclipse Eve.
You can tell that I've been crossing time zones and spending way too much time doing other things.
Are you going to watch the big eclipse tonight?
You know, I don't think I'm going to make it up past 7 o'clock, to be honest.
It's the longest eclipse in 600 years, and it'll be another 600 years before a lunar eclipse is this long.
So it's now or never, I guess.
Yeah, I better continue with my Starbucks then.
You should. Because, now, if you believe in the astrological side of it, this is one of those eclipses that has radical happenings. It's one of these things that all the astrologists are going ape shit over it, to the point where big changes are coming, huge enlightenment with respect to Leos. We're supposed to get found and get seen and have this huge awareness created. Makes you go, after last week, doesn't it?
So will you be like carried away into the stars or something?
I thought I already was.
Yeah, I don't know. Just let me know what they say about Sagittarius. You can put it in the chat. We don't need to share.
Okay.
So moving right along.
Moving right along.
So we have actually a lot of news to report.
Gosh, yeah.
As Fred said, long time no see. We saw each other over the last weekend. Had our first in-person Team Pillars planning meeting in Chicago.
Yeah.
Got a little snow, made a few plans, hugged a few people in person. It was exciting.
Oh my gosh. You know, it's one thing, and so many of you probably can relate to this because you may have started relationships with new friends or work folks over the last year and a half while we were in COVID. But there is nothing, and I mean nothing, that replaces meeting people in person. And I'm like a hugger, so for me to be able to be like, oh my gosh, Jerry, oh, it's Ray, like, that was huge.
Me too. I'm a hugger.
Yeah, it's like you kind of forget that human element that comes with touching people. And I don't mean inappropriately, Fred, but I mean like really embracing the human element in people. And we got to see Heidi, and we got to meet Jerry's wife and some other really great people. It was really just a fantastic time, and we got to review all of the exciting and upcoming strategic business plans we have going on with the Pillars show, and it was really a great week.
It was fun to wrap up this year and hopefully look forward to a better 2022 for all of us in terms of health and safety around the country. And we'll have lots of plans to announce throughout 2022 in terms of Pillars. Very exciting stuff going on. And then, Kristin, you went straight from that to Orlando. And then you and I had gotten together the week before. So I got 2 weeks of traveling. You're on your third.
Yeah, so 3 weeks straight. And, you know, wow. So it's kind of been this whirlwind, right? So we did all that, and then Saturday night my dad threw a surprise birthday party a month early for me, which was perfect because all of you were in town for that, which is great. It was like just utopia. That was a Saturday night. So
Yeah.
It was a very late night. I think it ended around, well, 3 on Sunday morning. And I was on my way to O'Hare at 4 o'clock the next day, very tired, but put on my game face because I got to join the Franchise Brokers Association with their going the extra mile. What did we call it? It's not a convention, but their gathering. I'll call it that because I always lose my words when I'm on air. And we got to meet over 200 franchisors. So that was amazing. Met some great people, made some great connections. Lots of folks ready to come on the show and share about their companies, share about the values that they as franchisors hold, type of individuals they're looking to come out and buy their franchises. Met with some great people in terms of funding. So for people out there who want to get out of the corporate drag, they want to come and look for a business to buy, and they think franchising might be the right way, we've got people, financial strategists, who can help you figure out how to go about doing that. And it was so interesting talking to these people about how many different ways there are to make it happen for folks. So I think that's really exciting. I'm looking forward to having some of them on the show as well.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me toward, in doing that and in getting out and about a little bit more in person, it's easier to get people who can contribute to the magazine for some of these educational resources. So
Yeah.
we've got RJ Grimshaw's in the December one about equipment funding. We've got Kelly Kruger who talks about financing. So we're introducing a lot more value through the magazine, through some of these people as well, but being able to bring them on the show and have them talk about their areas of expertise. You know, we've got a lot of neat things coming up. We're adding a column for women, by a woman for a woman in the magazine as well. So those kinds of things, we can do it by Zoom, but having the opportunities to meet with each other like that and go to conventions and have the team meet together, I mean, the possibilities just become more bountiful.
Well, and you don't think about, for any of you who go out, and whether it's that you're doing networking or you're at some kind of corporate events or any of these things that I just did, there's one thing to meet people, right? But then of course there's always like the after meeting environment, right? Where you're hanging out with somebody, you're having a couple of cocktails, and people kind of let down their corporate guard and you get to know who they are. And so for me, that's the best part, because you can toe your company line and you can tell me all that you need to tell me about your company and all this different stuff. But when you're kind of that raw person and I get to know exactly who you are based on the things you say, the way you say it, the way you carry yourself, the way you treat other people, then I know if you're authentic, right? Like, then I know, do I want to take somebody and help them invest their future in your brand, right?
Exactly. There is something to that personal intimacy. Like when the Pillars team, that was my first meeting, everyone except Kristin, who I'd met the week before. And I just thought, oh, thank goodness, everybody's exactly what I thought,
Yeah.
Because you never know, but you have these gut instincts. There's something about, someone's character that comes out in person. So I think we're all excited that we're on the right track, and everybody came out like a shiny little penny.
Yeah. And I have to give a shout out to a couple of the guys that I met that I really enjoyed, and they do, it's not the same work that we do, but they have the same level of integrity, and they do not get influenced by any one franchisor or franchise system. And that's the guys over at Vetted Biz. I spent a lot of time talking to Patrick over there at Vetted Biz. What great guys, a couple of brothers. They pick franchisors and they do deep dives into the metrics and into the good, the bad, and the ugly of these companies and do reviews on them. So I had a great time. I'm going to be on their show. They're going to come on our show in the next month or so. And I think it'll be a great synergy, so that, again, when people call us and say, hey, can you help me buy a franchise? Absolutely. And I've got this power partner now who's done way deep dives on these companies, even more than we can do. We can partner up and make sure, again, that when somebody's leveraging their entire future, we make sure we don't steer them in the wrong direction.
Well, exactly. And that really is Pillars special, because with the mentors, the $1 Million mentors that we have, they are all people who are franchisees who have been successful in what they've done. They understand the risk. They understand that somebody might be putting all of their eggs in this basket of franchising. And it's not just about selling anything. It's about helping you navigate that process to the benefit of you and your family. So I think that's one of the things as helping people buy franchises is really makes this team a special one.
Yeah, it's interesting because and I think sometimes we get caught up in, this was so not only were there all these franchisors there also, but and their funding specialists, insurance people, and all kinds of things. And there were hundreds of brokers there, and all of them wonderful people, and everybody has something really unique to add, right? Everybody offers somebody something a little different. And it was interesting because I explained to them, because they want to know, well, what do you guys do for Pillars when you are looking to sell a franchise? And I said, well, first of all, we don't really sell a franchise, right? We mentor people to ensure that they make the right investment for them in line with what their dreams are, right? Like, I'm not here to sell you anything. I want you to tell me, what is it that you want? Where do you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? What do you want your future to look like when you retire? Then we delve further into, okay, what else are you looking for, right? And then we go out, and it's kind of like matchmaking, right? So it's kind of like dating. We're trying to find your soulmate in a franchisor. It's like a marriage, right? When you marry your franchise. And things don't work out, of course, then that kind of stuff happens. But that's not the intent. And nobody wants to ever, I know I certainly don't. I don't want to be sold anything. So
right. Nobody does. Yeah, nobody does.
No. So I'm really excited. I mean, like I said, we've got some great opportunities. We're going to have some great franchisors on the show. We'll have lots of opportunity for our listeners to call in and ask these franchisors questions. For those of you who just started listening, don't forget, jot it down. The number is 323-580-5755. If you want to call in, we're about to welcome our next guest on the show. And Ray's going to do his introduction after our commercial. And you can call in and ask some questions as well.
Hey, franchise owners. How's your local marketing? Do you feel like you could use some help keeping up with your social media posts and comments and reviews? Do you wonder if you could be doing more to attract local customers? Are you able to identify new movements to your local area? At Westvine, we help franchisees like you reach more local customers through digital marketing. With daily monitoring, creative content, ad placement, and customer data intelligence, we'll get your business in front of the people who want your products or services. We also work with franchisors who need an agency to handle the digital marketing for all of their locations. If you're ready to reach more local customers, give us a call at 805-265-5440 or visit us at westvine.com. That's 805-265-5440 or westvine with a y.com.
Hello.
Whoop, whoop. Ray, how are you?
So we'd like to welcome Jason Revere, and I'd like to ask Jason a question. Is it oneth by land and twoeth by sea?
I believe that's correct. Yeah, I wasn't there, but I read about it. I think that's right.
Are you related to? Are you related to Paul at all? Or
yes, sir. Yeah.
Oh, great, fantastic. That's good to hear. And Jason is with Honest Abe Roofing, a franchisor. And tell us about your franchise. How many franchises do you have, and how did you get started?
Sure, I can do that for you. First off, though, I want to thank you guys. I learned something today and I'm going to use this, by the way, down the road. So I apologize if I'm stealing stuff from you, but you mentioned talking about matchmaking and all of that stuff. I'm gonna start referring to you guys as the eHarmony of franchise sales.
Now,
okay?
only Only.
Okay.
Only
Yeah,
if
so there you go.
eHarmony, only if eHarmony is the number one.
Okay, fair enough.
safety
Yeah.
service. 'Cause
So
I want to
yeah.
take
Well,
over.
Or Christian mingle then. But anyway, so back to really why we're here, right? Yes, I am with Honest Abe Roofing franchise, and we've been franchising since really early 2018. I mean, we filed all the nerdy paperwork stuff and did all the lawyer garbage in 2017, but in earnest, we really started pushing this thing in 2018. Had our first franchise come on board in Evansville. It's about 3 hours away from the corporate headquarters in Terre Haute, Indiana. And we wanted to make sure that we did it responsibly. You know, you don't want to franchise out your first franchisee to be in like Alaska. You know,
Right.
that doesn't make any sense. It's really hard to service that. And so we went a couple hours away. Don and Deborah Lanier bought they invested in our first franchise of our existence. And they went out and opened up their business. And so just to share a little bit about some of the background there, when you franchise a business, you don't know what you don't know. I don't know if anybody on the call here has ever franchised a business. I know you guys have purchased into franchises before, but when you're an emerging brand, as they call us in the industry, right? You have no idea what you don't know. And I will tell you, and Don will tell you too. Man, it was a struggle. And it required a lot of heavy lifting from both parties to make up for some of our inefficiencies at the beginning. Right? You don't know what you don't know, and we launched him, and you guys went through your franchise training, I presume, with your franchises that you purchased, and we had training as well. We did it in 1 week. He signed his franchise agreement on a Friday. We gave him the next week to basically prepare. That following Monday, he came in for training. We did 1 week of training. He had his first sale that following Monday.
Wow.
And so it's like lightning fast, right? And man, they jumped out of the gate fast. They did $4.2 million in their first year in business, which is in our FDD, which is in the FDD. I'm not breaking any rules here, so don't call the franchise police on me. You look back into the archives of the 2018 FDD, and you'll see that. Anyway. Neither here nor there, but it was thankfully a success, and that's a testament to how strong of an operator Don was, in addition to how strong our simplified business model is. So it was a nice marriage. He had a great skill set for what we were looking for, and after that we were off to the races. Had a couple franchises purchased and invested in that first year. Several more in the following year. Fast forward 3.5 years later, we're at 31 locations, covering about 12 or 13 states. Some of them straddle states, so we got one in Kansas City. So do I count that as 2 states? I don't know about that, but
depends on what side of Kansas City you're in, right?
Yeah, he's on the Missouri side, but he has many sales in Kansas as well. We also have one in Charlotte, North Carolina that services South Carolina as well. So I'll cheat and say we're in like 14 to 100 states. And we're wanting to grow fast, but we're wanting to grow responsibly. Right. And you mentioned kind of where we're at right now. We're at 31 locations. And can I say that every one of them has been an absolute home run like that first one was? No, heck no.
That's right.
Like I said, you don't know what you don't know. We brought in at least one franchisee that was just the wrong dude. Just wasn't a good fit. I'll say this: our franchise system was not tailor made for him. So you talk about matchmaking,
right?
It's like putting together an evangelical Christian with a meth addict, right? It wasn't a good fit.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Jason. This is a good time for me to ask that question. Then, who is your avatar? What is the ideal candidate? Who out there is listening today that you say, you know what, you're the type of person that we're looking for our company?
Someone not afraid of heights. Go ahead.
Actually, so good. Well said. But I'll back this up a little bit. So. I'll get to the answer, but I'm going to do it in a roundabout way, like I like to do. So, our business model is very simplified, and you guys have pillars, right? You're the pillars of franchising. We have pillars as well. We use the Lincoln Memorial as our kind of illustration of that. So we have those 4 pillars. The 4 pillars are marketing, sales, human resources, and construction management. And that's it. It's a very simple business, right? Get attention, market, sell it, recruit a bunch of people that can do selling and helping with the installs, and then manage partner crews. Some would call them subcontractors. We call them partner crews, and order materials and make sure that the job gets done well, and then rinse and repeat. It's very simple. Very, very simple. Unless, and this is where the avatar comes into play here. By the way, is that like a new term? Because it's only in a couple of years I've heard that. I don't know if the origin is the movie or what, but what we're looking for here is that really strong second pillar: marketing, sales, human resources, construction management. Really, those middle 2 pillars, right?
Okay.
You have to be great at recruiting. You just have to be dynamic. Your personality has got to be that of somebody worth following if you're going to be a good leader.
Yep.
Right. You can't be some fly on the wall guy that sits in the corner sucking his thumb. You have to be outgoing. You've got to be dynamic, and you've got to be believable in order to recruit the right people. And what do the right people look like? You've got to recruit a lot of really great salespeople.
So you want contagious leadership.
Yes, I want. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. We want contagious leadership. I mean, contagious these days is a bad word, I think. So we'll leave that alone.
Not like the method.
Yeah, but truthfully, and if because our major strengths as a franchisor are going to be in the marketing side of the business, and really helping them to drive opportunities, drive lead flow, drive things to get in front of. And then we're really great at sales training.
Sure.
Top-notch sales trainers. But you can't train somebody who doesn't have an aptitude to do it. It's impossible.
Right.
You're swimming upstream, right? And it's not fun. It's not fair to anybody. And if it's not within them to be a great sales leader and a great salesperson, it's not a good match.
So what
and we've had a couple.
Sure. So let's take a look at today. You've got all these people, getting out of corporate America. Some want passive ownership, and some want more owner operator type of business. Where would you say you are in that spectrum of ownership?
So a while back, I wrote a blog on this very subject: passive income, right? It was like the buzzword of like 2018, passive income. You got all these yahoos on YouTube telling you.
Yeah,
oh, I know.
Right?
Oh yeah, but they really came into fruition there, and talking about, hey, we can teach you how to build an Amazon store and you'll make $1 billion, and it's just all this idiotic stuff, right? And so when you ask what passive income, the answer is absolutely, of course, but passive income requires one thing, and it requires massive action. So if you want passive income, you need to do massive action, especially at the onset.
Yep.
And our strongest, what we look for, and there's always a trade-off, right? So what we look for is somebody who's going to be an owner operator, somebody who's going to be there in the business, drinking the Kool-Aid and then serving it,
right?
As the owner. And we really need that as to propagate the brand to their team. It requires that person who has skin in the game to do it. Or, and this is where the passive, quote unquote, passive income comes into play. You got to have a bunch of money to hire somebody that you can feed the Kool-Aid to, then they can then subsequently feed it to their employees.
Yeah.
And so it's a trade-off. Like you could do this, you could start this business, and I'm not saying this, but you could start this business with literally no money.
Right.
If you stripped away the franchise fee, if you had a dynamic personality and knuckles, you could just walk around the neighborhoods offering services as a roofing company and make millions of dollars doing it.
So most of your installers, I'll call them, are subs. Is that right? You
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. And so when it comes to scaling a business, right, you can do it 2 ways. If you're gonna have a construction company, there's 2 ways of scaling your business. One You get really good at finding partner crews, subcontractors, and then holding them accountable using what we call field managers. So that's one way. Or have like 1,000 employees to do $10 million.
Right.
It's one or the other, and we tend to lean more on the utilizing partner crews because you have so much less. There's just so much less liability. You don't have to worry about hiring and training each individual person. Right? Somebody gets the brown bag flu and calls you on Monday morning. Oh, sorry, boss, I'm not feeling good today. I think I ate something bad. It's like, I think
the brown bag.
I think you ate 6 bottles of vodka. Yeah, that's probably why you don't feel good.
In states like Illinois, my first question with that would be, who carries the liability insurance in that case then? Your subcontractor, your partner crews?
Yeah, so that's a loaded question. So there's a lot of complexities that go into this. Each state has their own rules, right? Illinois, spoiler alert, is one of the worst states in the country as far as bureaucracy is concerned. So
we found that out.
Yeah, they're pretty rough. And Florida's not good either as far as licensure is concerned, and California is worse than both of them combined.
Yeah.
And so you do have to carry liability insurance, and you do have to carry workman's comp insurance, okay? Regardless, because you're going to have employees that are going to be dealing with things that are at and or around people's properties, and you're the general contractor, regardless of whatever state you're in. When it comes to the subcontractors, though, we do require that they carry their own liability and own workman's comp insurance, and they prove it, and they list the franchisee as the additionally insured, and then it acts as a safeguard, which is foolproof, by the way, absolutely foolproof, that if they let their insurance lapse, the insurance company obviously is going to call you because you're the one that's you're the additionally insured. So they're going to pick up the phone every single time. It never happens. And that never fails. No, I'm kidding. So that's one of the things. So you asked back to who we're looking for. It's got to be somebody with an iron stomach, because stuff's going to go bad.
Most franchise owners have iron stomachs, but I think one of the things that is a common theme is EQ, emotional quotient, people who are able to deal with other people easily and sell.
Yep.
Sell themselves in business.
Selling, and then when it comes to the iron gut kind of thing here, you're gonna have days that go really bad for you. You're gonna have potentially have somebody get injured on the job. You're gonna have tear off a roof, pop-up rainstorm comes, ruins everything in their house. It's gonna happen regardless. And this is the funny, and I always ask people this when doing interviewing for franchise owners, is what business do you want to run? You want to run a $500,000 to $1 million business, $1 million to $2 million, $2 million to $3 million, $4 million to $5 million, $5 million to $10 million, whatever. And everybody always says, well, $5 million to $10 million. Because everybody has hubris. They've all got hubris in them. Yeah, $5 million to $10 million. Is that cool? You know what that looks like? A $10 million business is 700 installs a year. You're going to be running. You're on any given day. You're going to be running about 6 crews.
Yep.
Okay, with lots of stuff going on, lots of things happening, and then all juggling that, all the while, every single day, meeting with your sales team, training your sales team every single day to make sure that they keep getting better, and then also recruiting. And so there's just so many things, and I liken it to a whack-a-mole. You remember the old pizza parlor game, whack-a-mole? And like every time you're whacking real hard on the sales mole, all of a sudden install mole pops up, and you got to go over here. Then who's paying attention to sales mole?
Yeah.
And it takes a lot.
So that almost sounds like the day in the life, right, of any small business owner to some regard, right? So that could qualify in so many different ways, and I think that kind of explains a typical day in the life of an Honest Abe owner, right there, right? But in all seriousness, tell us about what we've got. Some people writing and they want to know. Tell us about what types of training you provide to your new franchisees. Yeah, good. So we've thankfully evolved since our first franchise. I shared that story earlier. We now do a really comprehensive thing, and it's really 4 parts. Okay, so we have online training, and all of them are on. By the way, I like marketing, so we say our training is on. So it's online. Starting off, we have an Honest Abe University
which is a video-based training platform that teaches each individual job that is within the company. So inside sales, salespeople, canvassing. So junior roofing advisors, guys go out and knock on doors. Field managers, office managers, and everything under the sun, right? So they graduate from that. They get their little Honest Abe University certificate. So they have a base level knowledge, and then it goes to on-site.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they come in. It's classroom training. We get them to understand what they do. We role play a lot with regard to situations and specifically in the sales arena. All right, we're not sitting around showing people how to put nails in shingles. That's idiotic.
Right.
Like, yeah, get online and YouTube that if you need to do it. But
take them to Habitat for Humanity. That's how I learned how to roof.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We'll send them out on a couple Habitat jobs, and they'll learn the trade that way. But we really focus heavily on what's going to drive revenue, right? Mm-hmm. And so they learn all of that driving revenue stuff. Not only do they learn how to do it, but they learn how to coach it, which is really important because they're going to be the ones hiring, training, retaining those salespeople. They graduate from that. Then we have on-the-job training, where we go and let them run their operation for a period of time, usually a week or two after they leave training. They get that done, so it's really on-the-job training, like you're doing it,
Sure.
And then ongoing. And this is the component that I see a lot of franchisors really. They do it. Some of them do a great job, some do an okay job, and then some do no job whatsoever. And it's the ongoing component to it. And we really believe that consistency is going to win the day, because you can't teach somebody how to become a great salesperson in one day or 1 week or 3 weeks or 5 weeks, whatever. It's ongoing, right? The sales ability, and really any ability, atrophies after a certain amount of time of not refreshing it. And that's where the ongoing training comes into play. And we've got each one of the franchise owners has a franchise liaison that they have weekly, what we call congressional sessions with. So it's just an hour-long checkup of their business, right? We're look at all the KPIs, discuss strategy and things we can go. And that goes on in perpetuity. It goes on forever, not just year 1, 2, 3, or 4, whatever, because things are going to pop up. Every Tuesday. No, you're fine. Every Tuesday we have the what we call the Tuesday Hustle. It's a sales training webinar that we broadcast out to each one of our franchise locations, for not just for them, the owners, but for the entire sales team. And that's a really important component, not only to training but also to retaining, right? So now they see, number one, that it's a big organization. We've got hundreds of salespeople that work within our company, and they get to see their peers from in Miami all the way up to Kansas City, and so they get to see all these people, and it really works in twofold there to solidify their training and also to solidify the belief in continuing to work for the company. And so that's really what our training looks like. Hopefully that answered the question. There's a lot more to it than that, but
sure.
One of the things that I was impressed with, I was looking at an interview you did last year, and you said you had 20 franchises at that time. Now you're saying you have 30 something. That's pretty good growth.
Yeah, we're growing quickly, not as quickly as our throughput is. I believe we can grow faster and have more, but we're getting very, very, very selective.
Yeah.
And it's because we want to avoid the dreaded transfer, or guy goes out of business or whatever, because this isn't it's not a Jamba Juice. Like this isn't you flip the lights on, somebody comes in, the instruction manual is take fruit, pour in blender, turn blender on, pour contents in a cup, serve.
Well, you have to protect the integrity of the brand. I mean, especially a brand like Honest Abe, right? I mean,
certainly.
A high integrity brand, and sometimes if you're not selective, you can really easily dilute the quality of owners that you have, and before you know it, your reputation can become very tarnished. I think that's important.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just, again, it's not fair to put somebody in a position for which they're not made.
Yeah. Well,
and we all have our gifts, and to run this business model, you have to have a very specific skill set.
Yep.
Or a ton of money.
Yeah.
So let's talk about money.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's the next question on my list from the listeners.
I know, I'm going to
Ah,
steal it from you. I'm going to steal it from you. So
You
what does
take
it take? What does it take to get, what is the franchise fee and what net worth are you looking for in an individual?
Our franchise fees vary because who wants things to be easy? It's a tiered program, so it depends on the location that you're in, and where I believe I'm not. I have no proof of this, but I believe that we have the most generous territory of any home service franchise that exists in the way that we delineate our territories. Some of our peers will do it by population. You got 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, whatever population, and they'll cram like 5 franchise locations into Columbus, Ohio. That's idiotic. You just can't do it. I don't know about you, but I like advertising on TV. Does TV hit everybody? Yeah, it does. Do I want to get every one of those calls? Heck yeah. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And so when we parsed out our territories, it's gone through a handful of iterations, but this is the one we're currently on. We give them out in MSAs, metropolitan statistical areas. Okay, so whatever the government considers a place, right?
Yeah.
And it ranges from the top 30 markets we consider mega markets, 31 to 75 we consider, or 31 to 70 we consider primary markets, 71 through 125 we consider secondary markets, and then everything smaller than that we consider a tertiary market. And